good thing, but it's tainted by the motive of selfishness, and God can't answer those prayers because it's answered with the wrong attitude. Because eventually what you really want is for yourself. Like something like this, God, let me explain to you why me winning the lottery is a win-win for both of us, God. Or, God, that girl is so hot, make her a Christian for me, and then make her like me, God. Motives matter. So how do I know my motives are wrong? Okay? Because I think a lot of us, we really don't realize that we are praying with wrong motives. It kind of looks like this verse. Look at this verse with me. It says, all a man's ways seem innocent to him, and that's our problem. That's our problem. Is that when we look at ourselves, we're like, I'm praying for good things. What's really wrong with my prayer? And the oftentimes that's exactly how we feel. It's like, you know what? My prayer is not that. It's a good prayer. I'm asking for a good thing. So how do I know if my motives are wrong? Well, look at this. It continues to say here, but motives are weighed by the Lord. You know what that means? It means that there's only one person who knows really what your motive is. Who really knows. And you need to go to Him. And you need to ask Him, hey God, I want you to search me. I want you to know me. I want you to reveal. I want you to uncover. Show me what my motives are. And help me change these motives. Help me change me. And the good news is that God can and God will. Because again, He wants us, our motives to be correct. That's what He wants. All right? So let's look at number 3. Okay? So again, number 1, our relationships matter. Number 2, our motives matter. Number 3, the way you live matters. The way you live matters. Look at what James writes here. He says, the prayer of, help me out with this, the prayer of what kind of man?
A righteous man.
Prayer of a righteous man. That is a man who is living right, simply. That's what it is. A prayer of a man who's living right is what? Powerful and effective. Okay? Prayer of a righteous man is powerful and effective. Okay, now why? Why is a prayer of a righteous man powerful and effective? Well, let me put it this way. Who would you rather give, if you had the ability to give financial gifts to people, who would the person be that you would give a financial gift to? Because ultimately God is giving to people. That's what answered prayers are. Is God giving things to people. Okay, so who would you give if you had the ability to give? Would you give to a guy who was physically healthy but has turned down 2 jobs because they were beneath him? The last time you gave him money, you spent it on lottery tickets or whatever, anything like that. Or would you give it to a guy who's busting his tail, working 2 different jobs, trying to feed his family? He's falling behind, but if you were to give to him, he'd be buying food for his family. Again, who would you give to? I think most of us would agree that we'd give you the second guy. Why? Because his momentum is in the right direction. We're giving to his obedience. We're adding to the good direction of his life. And I think that's exactly the way God sees His people. Who's God going to give to? God's going to give to the person who's living right, because He's going to bless those who can handle being blessed. He's going to give those who have shown that they can handle these good things and deal with them properly. That's the problem that happens so many times, is the reason why we're not getting anything. It's because we have shown with our life that we cannot handle being blessed by God. When God gives to us, we, like the last verse, one of the verses we read, we spend it on our own pleasures. We're doing things with it that we shouldn't be doing. And so that's why the prayer of a righteous man is powerful and effective. Because when God looks at our lives and He sees that we've been living right, we've been making good decisions, He says, you know what? I can trust this person with the blessing. I can trust them with the blessing. Some want the ability to live as they wish and then call God for a bailout. And God might be saying, you know what, I'm sorry. You're going to have to reap what you've sown. With your life, you've been planting things with your life. And you cannot plant things in your life and expect something wonderful to flourish. That's a natural law that God has said. What you reap, you will sow. And so what have you, or what you sow, I'm sorry, you will reap. So it's so important. How you live matters to God. Look at this verse right here. This is an interesting verse. This is Proverbs 15:29. It says, look at this. This is interesting. The Lord is far from the wicked. The Lord is far from the wicked. Of course we know because sin separates us from God. It puts a wedge between us and God. I mean, it just naturally happens. Sin separates people from God. But He hears the prayers of the righteous. That's what this says. He hears the prayers of the righteous. Why? Because again, the way you live matters. Okay? Let's look at number 4. Number 4 is this: your faith matters. We talked about relationships. We talked about motives. We've talked about the way you live, and then number 4 is your faith. When it comes to prayer, your faith matters. Look at James chapter 1, verses 6 or 7. It says, but when he asks, he must what? What does it say here?
Believe.
He must believe and not doubt, because he who doubts is like a wave of the sea blown and tossed by the wind. That man should not think he will receive anything from the Lord, because your faith matters. And what's awesome about this faith is that God seems to respond to a very simple, childlike faith. I mean, we really don't have to have this awesome monster faith. I mean, God loves when we have a simple, childlike faith. Now, what does childlike faith mean? I want to kind of explain that real quickly. It kind of works like this. We have someone like little Alyssa. If you were to tell little Alyssa that Santa Claus is real, and you are a person that she trusts, she will believe that Santa Claus is real. Why? Because children have that faith, that trust. That's exactly what we need. Is that we need the ability to say, okay, God, you are speaking this into my life. I trust it. I trust it, whatever it is. If you say that you can do whatever, anything impossible, then I trust that. That's what childlike faith is. Because again, children kind of believe whatever you tell them. And we need to be at the place that we believe whatever God tells us. Simple, childlike faith. The sad thing is that the longer many